Chidos is a popular dude who gets called the new Diddy for having too many girls around him. But everything changes for the better when he realizes that his female friends want to escape the friend zone, so he decides to put his hot dogs into their buns. We follow a story of students looking for a purpose in their youth that is filled with the blues of the world around them. In the center of that story, we follow Chidos, a normal student who goes to a normal school, doing normal activities at the start of a new school year, while hoping that one day he will look back at these days with happiness, knowing he's the center of everything. He is scrolling through his phone when his cute classmate, Yua, greets him and asks what he's looking at. Chidos shows him how an anonymous person on social media is talking smack about him being a cheek clapping, glizzy slipping, Johnny Sins like womanizer, which annoys him. Yua assures him that, considering that most people like him, it will pass, and Chidos agrees, saying that a hot, smart guy with a big willy like him should have nothing to worry about. She then shows him that they will be in the same class again, which she's happy about. But when Chidos points out that their whole group is in the same class as well, Yua is not happy that he didn't react to her first statement. Then, they meet with their gang, and Yuko greets them with a bright smile. She holds Chidos' hands, celebrating that they are in the same class again, and Chidos tells her that he would have been sad without her. But Yua quickly says that Chidos was busy ogling at girls' cheeks on the walk to school, which gives Yuko the ick. Chidos tells Yua that she's just jealous, and it earns Chidos a smack from Kaido, who is the basketball team's superstar. And alongside him is Kazuki, a superstar of the football team. They put their hands together, and each announces that they are the group's leader before going to class. There, Chidos is greeted by Haru, the girls' basketball team star, who acts like she's one of the boys, and she teases Chidos about cutting his long hair. With her is Yuzuki, who is a part of the basketball team, and is considered one of the prettiest girls alongside Yuko. But unlike Yuko and her natural cuteness, Yuzuki carries more aura around her. Then, before class starts, Chidos declares that Team Chidos, their popular group, is reunited. But the others all declare that their name should be the brand. Just then, due to them being noisy, they notice some students get annoyed. But Chidos brushes it off, saying that haters will always hate in his perfect little world. Then the class starts, and their homeroom teacher, Kira, lazily greets them and wishes them another good year. But Chidos is used to his laid-back attitude, as Kira was his teacher the year before. Just then, Haru expresses how she feels hot having to wear a tie. Chidos suggests that she use a ribbon for more neck room, but Haru refuses, saying that it will ruin her image and reputation. Suddenly, Kira asks Chidos to take over like usual, and Chidos walks to the podium to talk to the class. He doesn't introduce himself, saying that they all know his name anyway, and even adds that some even call him Playboy. Some students laugh at his jokes, while some are annoyed by how much of a try-hard he is to look friendly. He then talks about the class rep election, but his friend group suggests that he should just be the class rep like before, which he proudly accepts. Yuko stands up, saying that she should be his vice rep like before, and even makes a joke that she's good at taking care of things. And just like that, they become the class reps. During lunch, Chidos gets himself a canned drink and goes to the rooftop, where Kira is waiting for him, smoking cigarettes. Chidos says that it must suck to be a smoker, as people bash them, and Kira says that people love a common enemy, which Chidos knows a lot about, considering people call him a playboy. Kira then tells Chidos why he's called to the rooftop, and shows a picture of a student named Kenta, a lonely otaku who has been missing school for 2 semesters. Kira asks for Chidos to bring him back, but Chidos is confused as to why he's asked to do this. Chidos asks what would happen if he refuses, and Kira points out that if he does refuse, his can-do-it-all persona will die, which is something Chidos doesn't want to happen, so he chooses to accept the request. Chidos convinces himself that his philosophy of living a beautiful life and enjoying youth has to continue, so he refuses to let it end. After school, on his way home, Chidos spots Asuka reading a book by herself, so he greets her, and Asuka greets her back. He sees the book Asuka is reading and recites a line from it, which impresses her to see that he knows it. The year before, it was the first time they met, and Chidos was heading home when he spotted a little jit getting bullied by his friends, who called him gross. The boy was cornered into the water, with nowhere to go, and Chidos was about to help him when, suddenly, a silver-haired girl jumped in, which amazed Chidos, saying that she wanted to join in the fun. She started playing with the water with the boy, lightening up the mood, and even invited the other boys to join in. When they did, they all had fun playing in the water together, and the boys all went home happy and back as buddies again. But it left Asuka's clothes drenched, and when she saw Chidos staring at her, she teased him for staring at her being all wet. He handed her a towel and asked her why she jumped into the water instead of simply pulling the boy out of the water to save him and scolding the other two for being mean. Asuka said that she thought it would be better if the boys went home messy and smiling instead of them fighting each other, even if it cost her drenching her clothes. Chidos then asked her for her name, and when she gave it to him, saying that her name meant tomorrow's wind, Chidos was immediately captivated by her. Back in the present, Asuka comments about how Chidos looks imperfectly perfect, like a perfectly beautiful park that doesn't allow fireworks and a playground, but is pretty just for the looks. Suddenly, she asks a hypothetical question, wondering who he would save between her and a girl she's closest to if they are both drowning, and that he only had a two-seater kayak. He suggests that one of them just hangs on, but Asuka adds that there are piranhas in the water. Asuka confidently declares that she would save him, saying that she likes him more than any boy on her class. Chidos says that she's bad at her romantic proposal, but she tells him that it's not a proposal. She claims that someone like Chidos wouldn't choose either, and rather, Chidos would put both girls in the kayak, while he would let himself get eaten by the piranhas, just because a self-sacrifice would be the most beautiful choice. Chidos laughs at that idea, saying that he wouldn't do that, but Asuka insists that a self-sacrificing person is exactly who Chidos is, which leaves Chidos speechless. That night, Chidos ponders to the moon, questioning whether, among the millions of people around him, he is fully living up to his role. As he looks to the moon, he wonders if Kenta is looking at the same moon, but unbeknownst to him, Kenta has his curtains closed, as he has closed himself off from the world. The next day, Yuzuki confronts Chidos, asking if anything is troubling him, and Chidos is not surprised, knowing that Yuzuki is someone who picks up people's moods, so he tells her about his mission from Kira to get Kenta to come back to school. She offers to come along with him, saying that it's better with company, and notices how Yuzuki, even when offering to help, makes sure that she looks perfect. He tells her that he already asked someone, and she tells him that he can always ask for her help, as she likes helping people she respects. After school, Chidos waits for Yua, and when she shows up, she trunks back to put on makeup, ensuring she looks good in front of Chidos. She asks why he invited her, and he says that, unlike him, she doesn't have many people who don't like her. He then prepares a bike for them, and when she gets on, he asks her to grab onto him so she won't fall, but she pinches his uniform, knowing that this dude has a reputation for being a playboy. On the ride to Kenta's place, she compliments his back, saying that it's unexpectedly big, and Chidos says that he was once the best baseball player in the prefecture. She says that she knows that, as she used to watch him play before they became friends, and Chidos teases her about being his fan. But then, she vaguely both confirms and denies it. She then asks if he has any ideas, and he says that he wants to break so he can feel her juicy melons on his back, which earns him her claws on his neck. She reiterates, asking if he has any plans to handle Kenta, and he says that it's pointless to make a plan without knowing what they are facing. Then, they reach the house and tell Kenta's mother through the teleprompter who they are and why they are there. The mother lets them in and says that she also doesn't know why her son suddenly stopped going to school. They suggest that they try talking to him, and while the mother is afraid that her son might revolt, they assure her, saying that maybe they can do something about him. Then, they knock on his room's door, and Kenta immediately tells them to go away. When Chidos introduces himself, Kenta calls him the playboy who claps anything with a hole, which needs Yua to calm Chidos down. But then, when Yua introduces herself to Kenta, he recognizes her as one of the holes Chidos likes to clap, which also angers her. Kenta calls them out for only caring because the teacher told them to come, so Chidos tries to calm him down by talking about what he loves, light novels. But Kenta calls them out for not even knowing light novels properly and following legendary ones like The Day I Got Reincarnated as Diddy, or I Wake Up as My Dad, so I have to clap my mom to make sure I exist.
Hey yo, what the?
They admit that they don't follow either of them, and Yua asks for recommendations from him. But Kenta tells her to stop pretending that she's interested and go slip in the shower. However, Yua insists that they should talk, and Kenta slowly opens up to her, Seeing this, Chitos says that he should step away, but that angers Kenta, as he thinks that Chitos sees him as a loser, while Chitos can just bump bellies with Yua afterward. Sensing the extreme hostility, Chitos says that they should leave, and Kenta tells them not to come back, saying they have nothing in common. On the ride back home, Yua asks if Chitos notices anything from the meeting, and all he can think of is that Kenta hates him so much that he would bite Kenta's pickle off if he could. Yua can see why he would hate Chitos, but she assures Chitos that he is still cool even with the hate. Then, they get some novels to read, and as they head home, the orange sky presents itself to them, all the while Yua has her hand tightly on Chitos. That night, Chitos decides to take a different approach, so the week after, he takes Yuko with him to meet Kenta, thinking she would help. On the bike, she warns him to sit down, as people can see her snoo. But she doesn't mind some randoms seeing it. So Chitos jokes and asks her to show it to him, but she says that he gets to see it on their special day. As she sits behind him, she says that Chitos doesn't reek of sweat like before anymore, but that disappoints her as she likes the smell of his sweat. She pushes her melon into him and stays like that until they get to Kenta's place. There, Kenta once more tells Chitos and his transmitted diseases to go away. When he doesn't hear from Yua, Kenta already knows that she doesn't care about him, but Chitos assures him that she's not like that. Then, Yuko introduces herself to Kenta, and like before, Kenta calls her one of the plot holes Chitos likes to clap, but she doesn't get what he means. When Chitos explains, she gets offended, saying that her plot holes are limited edition, and that his words are mean. Kenta points out that Yuko is probably only here to score points with Chitos, and she admits that she does want to impress him and be the #1 girl in his mind by helping him. Kenta doesn't want to be someone she takes pity on to impress someone else, but from his words, Yuko realizes something. She asks Kenta if he stopped coming to school because a girl rejected him. And he confirms it by saying that she's the same way as someone trying to impress Chitos. But unlike Kenta, Yuko claims that she's willing to win him over against other girls, and that him being nice to everyone is why she has feelings for him. Hearing that frustrates Kenta, so Chitos asks Yuko to have some tea downstairs while he takes over. Understanding what happened, Chitos asks Kenta to open the door so they can talk and he can help him. But Kenta refuses to open the door, ordering Chitos to go away and eat dirt. But when Chitos walks away, Kenta secretly wishes he could have been on the other side of the door with them. But then, moments later, Kenta sees a shadow figure in his window, and suddenly, Chitos breaks the window with a baseball bat, shocking Kenta. With a smile, he invites Kenta to join him and find something in common with each other. Kenta tells Chitos that what he did is a crime, but Chitos assures him that Kenta's mother has given him permission. Chitos then sits down across from Kenta, turns on the light, and suggests that they have a heart-to-heart conversation. Hearing that, Kenta pours his heart out and expresses how much he hates the popular kids for looking down on losers like him, and that they should have learned to treat them as actual people. He adds that they're popular only because they're hot or athletic, but Chitos tells him he's wrong, and says that while some people have physical advantages, people like Yuko, Yua, and his athlete friends all put in effort to get to where they are. Kenta brings up the fact that losers like him can't defeat the gifted kids no matter how hard he tries, which makes it pointless, but Chitos disagrees and says that he has to believe in himself and his hard work, that one day he can succeed. Chitos then teaches Kenta how to communicate, and when Kenta gives it a try, he manages to talk about how Chitos has grown to like reading light novels. Kenta doesn't believe an ounce that Chitos actually enjoyed reading light novels, but Chitos tells Kenta that for a whole week, he has read masterpieces like In Another World as Bonnie Blue, So I Have to Gobble 1,000 Glizzies, and I Was Born a Loser, so I decided to lock in and become Johnny Sins. To prove further that Chitos does read them, he tells Kenta in detail the story he read, which amazes him, and Chitos says that he is actually an avid reader. Kenta asks Chitos why he did all of that, and Chitos says that he hates people who insult others without knowing them first, which was what Kenta did to him. Chitos says that the base of communication is wanting to know someone else better, which was what Yua and Yuko tried to do with Kenta. So Chitos points out that Kenta is a hypocrite for doing exactly what he hated about people, which took Kenta aback. Chitos then pulls out a book from Kenta's bookshelf and tells Kenta a story about a man who has God-gifted talents. The man Chitos says was someone handsome, had a big willy, and was nice to everyone. but he also achieved good grades and a reputation through training and hard work. However, because he was too perfect, people started hating him and would capitalize on mocking him if he ever slipped even a little bit. He then started purposefully lowering his grades to make people like him, but they all hated him even more, which annoys Kenta, who is hearing this story. However, Chido says that a teacher saved that man by making him feel comfortable with his own God-given gifts and advantages, and that someone like him has to take charge and lead the people. From then on, the guy stopped holding back and only improved himself more, just so he could fly higher and live beautifully the way nobody can reach, just like the blue moon in the night sky, or the dazzling glass in a bottle of ramune. Kenta asks who it's about, and when Chido says that it's about him, Kenta tells him to stop gobbling his own glizzy. But Kenta does admit that he did make Chidos the bad guy in his life, even though he doesn't know him well. Chidos believes that people over-idealize and demonize popularity at the same time, but Kenta doesn't see it as a bad thing, considering that Chidos is winning in life. Chidos asks him for an example of him winning, and Kenta points out that it's easy for him to bag any baddies due to his handsome mug. But Chidos adds that it's a disadvantage when he gets called a womanizer for it on a daily basis. Kenta brings up that there are people who want to put them down, and while Chidos agrees, he assures Kenta that his friends are all good people. Chidos suggests that Kenta should focus on himself and not on other people's hatred. Kenta brings up how it's easy for him to date people, but while Chidos acknowledges that, he says that it's troublesome when his own friends have feelings for him, and he has to cruelly reject his own friends from their feelings, which could end with him being painted as the bad guy. Kenta then wants to talk about what happened to him, and Chidos is relieved that he wants to open up, but tells Kenta that he can already guess how Kenta told a fellow otaku his feelings for her, and she brutally rejected him, as Kenta is not some hot, handsome Chad, which made Kenta hate her and everyone. The two bond over Kenta's traumatic experience, and Yuki listens from the outside, happy that they're making progress. They then talk about their next steps, and Kenta says that while he no longer has feelings for Miki, the girl who rejected him, he wants to be popular and asks Chidos to tutor him. Chidos refuses, saying that he doesn't want to hang out with Kenta all the time, and that Kenta has to take responsibility for his own life. However, wanting to live by his beliefs, Chidos agrees to help him get on his feet for 3 weeks. So first, Chidos asks Kenta what his goals are. Kenta says that he wants to show Miki and the people who bullied him who's boss, and Chidos is fully behind his motive to show that Miki missed out on dating such a big-willied Sigma in Kenta. However, Kenta feels scared of facing Miki and girls in general, so Chidos tells Kenta that he has yet to experience the softness of sweet melons. That gets Kenta's attention, so Chidos encourages him that he has to rise up to be someone better, so one day, he can plant his hot dog between some sweet buns. Later, Kenta goes downstairs to apologize to his mother for the trouble and to Yuko for insulting her, and Yuko assures him that they're cool, but points out that Kenta should shower. Yuko then helps out by cutting Kenta's hair, and Chido says that what they should do first is to give him a makeover, so he orders Kenta to go on a diet. He then takes Kenta's phone and bans him from using social media for the time being. When Kenta asks why, Chido says that Kenta has to first understand why hating on other people with anonymous accounts is not good for him. Afterward, Chido sits down with Yuko, who is happy that everything went smoothly, and Chido says that he only pushed Kenta to move on and find a new chick. Yuko praises him, saying that his attitude makes it easy for people to like him, the same way she likes him. Chidos asks that she not bring up their past, but Yuko wishes that one day, Chidos can open his heart for her, as there are a lot of things that she wants to express to him. The next morning, Kenta feels nervous to come back to school after months of being absent, but Chidos assures him that being nervous is the first step of making a big change in his life. Chidos pops into the class with Kenta and introduces Kenta to everyone with a light joke. He then jokes about how Kenta stopped going to school because he was rejected, and while Kenta feels tense, Chidos suggests that he has to make people laugh. Everyone in Chidos's friend group joins in the fun and makes fun of his rejection lightly, which gains laughter from the class. Kenta feels insecure about it, but Chidos teaches him that there is a difference between jokes and insults, and Kenta needs to know the difference between the two. Their teacher is about to walk in, but when he sees Kenta there, he realizes that Chidos succeeded in his mission, so he gives his students time to help Kenta adjust. Later, at lunch, the girls are confused by what Kenta brought for his lunch, and Kenta informs them that he needs to go on a diet, following Chidos's advice to make him look hotter. They then ask him about what happened, and Kenta tells them how he was part of a club of otakus, and there was a girl there, Miki, whom he had a crush on. But because another member of the club was hotter with washboard abs, Miki chose the handsome Chad instead of Kenta, even after he gathered the courage to confess, which broke his heart. Chidos adds that Miki called Kenta a fat loser who should choke on a glizzy before rejecting him, and they all show support to Kenta, saying that he was manly for even confessing to her. But later, one of the boys, Kazuki, confronts Chidos for suddenly bringing someone new into their group, and he warns Chidos that someone like Kenta cannot change into a different person that easily. However, Chidos disagrees and has full faith in Kenta to change into someone better. On the rooftop, Chidos sits down with Kira, who praises Chidos for completing his mission with style. But then, Chidos asks Kira what it means to live life truly for himself. Kira thinks about it for a bit, smokes a cigarette, and says that most people doubt their own judgment and sense of purpose, so they tend to look at others to compare or even drag others down. To live life fully, he says, is to fully believe in their own life compass, and that makes Chidos wonder whether his compass is still as good as it was before. A week later, Kenta manages to lose a few kilos like he's on Ozempic, so Chidos and Yuko take him to go shopping for some clothes to upgrade his appearance, starting with glasses, which Yuko thinks make him look snappy. Later, after shopping, Yuko suggests that they stop by the restaurant where he plans to meet his friends later. They sit down, and Kenta shows Chidos how the girls he liked, Miki, mocked him for inviting her, and the others meet up after he left the group chat. Chidos scoffs at how awkward it looks, and Yuko asks Kenta what he is trying to achieve by reconnecting with the friends who abandoned him. Kenta says that he wants them to see how much he has changed for the better, and that gives Yuko an idea, so she calls up a server to help take their picture. Kenta is amazed seeing the photo and how much he has changed, and Yuko points out that they look like best of friends. Chidos reminds Kenta that he has to always remember the effort he put into himself to improve, and he has to always have a never-stop improving attitude. Hearing that, Kenta quietly promises not to let his new friend's efforts go in vain. Watching Kenta being all smiles, Chidos acknowledges to himself that Kenta is amazing for actually changing for the better, and wishes that one day, Kenta will look back on this moment of his life with pride. Some days later, at school, Chidos is walking to class when he suddenly hears some people in class pressing Kenta, asking him why a pathetic loser like him is hanging out with Chidos's crew. Yua tries to defend Kenta, but the bullies tell her to stop acting like a princess and show who she really is, a dumb hoe. In the halls, Chidos is listening in, alongside Yuzuki and Kazuki. Chidos asks the two to help him out with the situation, and Chidos is pissed that this could harm Kenta's progress to be better. They step into the classroom, acting all chill and fun like usual. Chidos confronts the main bully, saying that he has no idea who he is, and the guy gets offended, saying that they faced each other in a baseball game before, and that his name is Yumura. Kazuki jumps in and quickly rizzes up the female bully, Ice, and she folds quicker than a single mom in front of a dude she can baby trap. But she says that Chidos and Kazuki should hang out with her instead of ugly dogs like Yua and Yuzuki. Then, Yumura asks why Chidos is hanging out with someone like Kenta, and Chidos states that he hangs out with whoever he chooses, even if it is Kenta. Sensing the tension, Kazuki says that they all should calm down, but Yumura doubles down, saying that he hates guys like Chidos who never experienced failure, and that scum like Kenta shouldn't waste Chidos's time. He lets go of Kenta's head, leaving him scarred by what he just experienced. Later, Kenta asks Chidos what he should have done against the bullies, and Chidos says that as long as he can keep his head high in his beliefs, their words will never reach him. On his walk home, Chidos feels like he's responsible for what happened, knowing he was the person who kick-started Kenta's change. He feels worried that if Kenta continues to go on this path, more people will hurt him, and it will leave him scarred for life. Just then, Haru pops up and asks Chidos to come with her to hang out. They go to the sports field and help each other stretch. They talk about Chidos's past as a baseball player and why he quit. While Chidos acts like he doesn't care that much about baseball, Haru calls him a liar, knowing how much hard work he put into the game. Then, they play basketball, and Haru challenges him, and if he loses, he has to tell her what's been bugging him. Chidos agrees, and if Haru loses, she has to tell him how many fingers she used every night. And he adds that the loser has to buy food for the winner. They start the game, which ends with Haru winning, and she encourages him to vent to her about what he's dealing with. Chidos expresses how he's scared that Kenta's plan to show his old friends his change will fail, so Chidos wants to do something to make it work. But Haru calls him an idiot and says that Chidos has done all he can to help Kenta, so he has to trust him in making it work, just like a coach trusts his players to win after they coach them all they can. Haru tells Chidos that he is mocking Kenta's resolve, and that Chidos shouldn't act too full of himself. They end up hanging out till dark, and Chidos demands a rematch of who can swing the furthest, with the loser having to tell the winner their deepest secret one day. They both swing high, under the dark blue sky and the shining star, and Chidos hopes that he can one day stand on his own 2 feet. Later that night, Chidos gets on a call with Yuzuki, and they role-play while they talk. Yuzuki asks him why he helped Kenta, and Chidos says that it's because he was blackmailed by Kira, but Yuzuki says that it's wrong. She says that Chidos did it because he's Chidos, a man who is self-righteous and has a savior complex, which surprises Chidos to hear, but he couldn't reject. She says that he owes her, and he asks what she wants. Suddenly, she asks him to be her boyfriend, which surprises Chidos a little, but Yuzuki says that she was role-playing too much. But Chidos continues the roleplay and asks what her melon covers are like, and Yuzuki teasingly says that they are Betty Blue like the night sky, and has the hook on the back, which makes Chidos struggle to sleep that night. A week later, Kenta has lost more weight and he has gained muscle, but it's almost the last day that Chidos mentors him. Chidos assures him that he will show his bullies that he has changed, but Kenta doesn't know if she wants to show them anymore. Later, they play football, and Yumura challenges Chidos to a game with a loser facing a forfeit, and Chidos agrees, with the forfeit being an embarrassing one. Kenta is worried by the challenge, but Chidos assures him that it's just a game, and that he will pass Kenta a lot. Kenta is scared, as he's bad at sports, but Chidos says that he should just have fun, as he's not part of the bet. Then, the game starts, and Chidos and Kazuki carry the team on their back, but they try to get Kenta to score. When he miserably fails, everyone laughs at him, which destroys his confidence, and when Chidos helps him up, he realizes that Kenta takes everything seriously. However, Chidos believes that it's not fun if they leave out the unathletic students, hence why he wanted Kenta to join. But with each failure he made, he grew more insecure. Then, on the final play, they try to pass to Kenta, but he refuses to move, so Chidos does it himself, and he scores a screamer with better animation than Blue Lock. However, his team still lost, and while he's doing the forfeit, Yumura tells Kenta something. Later, before going home, Yuko talks about Kenta's performance with Chidos, and they joke about it with no harmful intent. But Kenta overhears it, and confronts them for talking trash about him. Chidos assures him that they were only teasing, and he would have said it to his face, but that angers Kenta. He says that Yumura was right, and Kenta is indeed just a clown to Chidos. Yuko tries to tell him that he's wrong, but Kenta doesn't care anymore, considering that their last day together is tomorrow. Kenta expresses how a guy like him struggles in sports, but some handsome chump like Chidos forcefully dragged him to play, and see him embarrass himself, only to steal all the spotlight in the end, which makes Kenta feel like a complete mockery. Yuko confronts him over his words, saying that after weeks of being together, Kenta should know that Chidos is never the person who laughs behind someone's back. That wakes up Kenta, but Chidos steps up to apologize for crossing the line between banter and bullying, which hurt Kenta. Out of guilt, Kenta runs away, but Chidos tells Kenta that he wishes him luck for his meeting with his old friends, and that he believes in him. Afterward, on the way home, Yuko calls Chidos a hero for trusting and helping someone like Kenta, and she admits that she herself didn't believe that Kenta could change. Chidos tells him that he's not a hero, but she insists that he is, believing that she has a good eye for people who are truly good deep down. Meanwhile, Kenta is heading to the restaurant, feeling guilty about his outrage at Chidos and Yuko, realizing that he has just destroyed his friendship with them. However, after the 3 grueling weeks he trained under Chidos, he refused to let that be pointless, and to let Chidos down, the person who made the biggest impact in his life. Inside the restaurant, the girl he loved, Mickey, and the 2 dudes who took turns with her are shocked to see his change, and they quickly make fun of him. But remembering Chitos's advice, Kenta diffuses the situation by saying that he wanted to become more social. They say a loser like him can't be social, but remembering Chitos's advice again, Kenta says that he's trying, wanting to be comfortable in his own skin. They then all sit down and try to bring him down, saying that someone like Kenta shouldn't be in a social place like a cafe, and that they have been happier ever since he left their group. They add that he must have had Ozempic and have people style him, and Kenta mentions that his new friends helped him on his journey. Hearing that surprises Miki, and she asks Kenta intently if he has already forgotten about her. Kenta says that he won't get between her romance with Ren anymore, but that angers them, and Miki says that she was only being nice to him cause she felt bad for a loser like him. They try to convince him that his new friends are only with him to use him, and there, Kenta realizes that they sound exactly like how he used to be, obnoxious and hateful, but Chitos still reached out to him. Suddenly, Ren enviously reveals that even when Kenta was trying to get close to Miki, he was already clapping her cheeks behind him. Then, like a dagger through the heart, he reveals on his phone that every time Kenta sent sweet messages to Miki, she showed them to Ren, and Ren laughed at his pathetic messages. He adds that Ren was also the one who told Miki what to send to Kenta, ensuring that he stayed in love with her, meaning that Kenta was in love with the words from Ren's mouth and not Miki's. Hearing that, Kenta feels the dagger of hatred in his heart, realizing that his first love was never real, and as they all laugh at his pain, Kenta realizes that this is karma for him kicking away the people who do care about him. In his mind, Kenta wants to go back to his room, locking himself in like before, having nowhere else and nobody else to go to, apologizing to Chitos and Yuko for failing to change. But suddenly, he hears Chitos's words of encouragement, and the goat himself pops up beside him, saying that he's here to fulfill his promise to back him up. The others are confused by who this handsome Chad is, and Chitos introduces himself as Kenta's classmate and friend. He asks Kenta if he is counted as his friend, and Kenta tells Chitos that he is, and he is too kind. Ren warns him that Kenta is a filthy otaku, and Chitos responds that he will be going to Comic-Con with him. With Chitos's hand on his shoulder, Kenta sees how Chitos is a person who, despite being hated by people like him, is a person who would never abandon others, which is a life philosophy he follows, and one Kenta cherishes. Ren then warns Chitos that Kenta is a creep who sent multiple messages to Miki, and he would do the same with Chitos's girlfriend, but Chitos is unfazed, and he asks if Miki really never had feelings for Kenta. When they say that she never did, Chitos tells Kenta that it means that his first love is still waiting for him, because he could never truly lose something that is never real. Chitos adds that he shouldn't waste that feeling of love on these people, and he should keep it for someone he truly cares about. Annoyed by his nonchalant behavior, Ren gets up and confronts Chitos for picking a fight with them, but Chitos reminds him that they were picking a fight with his friend first. The bullies insist that he shouldn't waste his time with someone like Kenta, as he's someone Chitos will kick away anyway. Ren bursts in anger, insisting that someone like Kenta could never change, and that a loser will always stay a loser, but Chitos has had enough. He showcases his fangs of anger, telling Ren that Kenta is someone who has taken his first step to change himself to his best version, and despite the hurt, he is someone who is aiming for the moon, the same beautiful moon everyone looked up at, unlike Ren, who chose to be stuck as a pathetic loser who always put others down when they are growing. Hearing that, the whole cafe is frozen, and Kenta is drowning in his own tears, seeing the man who usually hid his emotions and smiled, being furious on his behalf. He finally sees a path for himself to go to, one that will push him to keep moving forward, and he sees that encouragement when he sees Chitos, the man he calls a hero. Just then, Yuko pops up, calling them out, and fully diffuses the tension in the cafe with her beauty. She greets Kenta and plays with his hair, showing the others that Kenta got a baddie as his friend. Yuko then tells Miki and the others that this should be enough, and asks Kenta for his final words to his old friends he will leave behind. With his new friend's encouragement, Kenta tells his old friends that he's aiming for the moon and won't look back, closing the chapter of his old miserable life. Afterward, while walking back, Chitos and Yuko assure Kenta that what they did was the right thing to do, especially after what they did to him. Chitos tells Kenta that he hopes that Miki and the others learnt a lesson, as that follows his life's philosophy to live beautifully. Then, Chitos reminds Kenta that it has been 3 weeks, and as they agreed, it is the end of their relationship. Kenta tells Chidos that on the day he broke his window was the day that he broke through his closed-off heart. Kenta promises that he will start his own story and asks that if one day he could stand beside them with his head high. He wants them to be friends with him. He expresses his gratitude for everything they did for him and says that he will cherish the memories he had with them forever. But then, they laugh at him, and Yuko tells Kenta that he misunderstood, and what Chidos meant was the end of their teacher-student relationship. They remind him that they are already friends, and while Kenta feels undeserving, they assure him that he is a friend to them, which makes Kenta extremely happy. Later, Chidos meets up with Asuka at their usual meeting place, and Chidos tells him the story of Kenta and how he grew from his shells. Asuka tells Chidos that it's a beautiful story, and says that he has changed a little. She points out that his idea of being a hero has changed, and he turned from a plain one to a complicated hero, one who is warmest to others, while being the coldest to himself. He shoots back that she's a true hero for helping the bullied boy on that day, but she assures him that, unlike him, she is just an ordinary girl who shouldn't be put on a pedestal, and is unable to carry as many people as he does. She then asks him if he has plans for the upcoming Golden Week, and Chidos teases about inviting her to a date there. But while she thinks that it would be a beautiful day, she insists that they simply stay in their current relationship, fearing that going further is either going to change or ruin their relationship. The next day, after closing another chapter, one with a new friend in Kenta, Chidos rides his bike to a meeting with the others. When he gets there, he is only greeted by one woman, Yuzuki, who is there early like him, as they both hate making other people wait. They eat some food, joke around, and tease each other. But Yuzuki suddenly gets serious and asks Chidos to be her boyfriend. Yuzuki says that they are similar, and because of that, they should date. Chidos asks her why she wants a boyfriend in the first place, and she states that just like any other girl, she wants to date a hot guy like him. But Chidos knows that she's not that shallow. Chidos admits that they are similar in the way that they have to wear masks to cover their true self. But hearing that only makes Yuzuki believe more that they are meant to be together, and dating someone who will let her be herself is perfect. But Chidos calls her out for her usual behavior and knows that he would never fall for her and her sweet words that easily like other dudes. That makes Yuzuki's heart skip a beat, and she teases him for making her want him more. Then, after their little talk, Yuzuki finally admits that she feels that someone is stalking her, and when Chidos asks who, she suspects that it's boys from a different school called Yakin, which Chidos recognizes as a place full of delinquents. Chidos now understands why she needs a boyfriend, and Yuzuki makes it official by asking him for two things as her boyfriend. One is for him to be such a perfect boyfriend that the stalker will give up on her, and two is for him to be ready to deal with the stalker if he tries anything nasty. Chidos informs her that he never fought before, but Yuzuki begs him, saying that he is her only hope. When he tries to reject, she even pleads to him, saying that he can do whatever he wants with her, as much as he wants, and as many as he wants. She acknowledges that she will be taking his time and energy, so she is willing to endure whatever he wants, even if they are freakishly degenerate, like licking his toes. Hearing that, Chidos agrees to the deal, and knowing she will do what he wants, he asks her to let him use her to blow off some steam by dropping sweat and loud groans in the form of playing basketball. They then take a break, and Yuzuki points out that he's not the type to encourage a girl, but Chidos reminds her that people like him and her are not the type to like being seen as weak. However, Chidos tells her that she can use him whenever she thinks it is best. She worries that he won't be there for her, but Chidos assures her that if she screams his name, he will appear for her, just like a hero would. The next morning, Yuki is surprised to see Chidos arriving at school with Yuzuki, suspecting that there's something going on. Then, as a declaration, Yuzuki tells the whole class that she is dating Chidos, shocking everyone, and Yuko expresses her refusal to it, saying that Yuzuki must be using him for something she needs him to do. Yuko adds that there's no chance that Yuzuki could ever date Chidos, but Yuzuki shoots back and says that the same goes for Yuko, which pisses her off, so she tries to win him back from Yuzuki. Later, Chidos informs his friends about what's really going on, and they are all worried for them. They all support their plan and even say that they will help keep an eye out for Yuzuki's stalker. Then, Chidos tells Kira what's happening, and while the old creep congratulates Chidos for dating a busty baddie, he also reminds him that he has to be smart at handling it. and if he ever needs help against the stalker, he can always count on him. After school, while waiting for Yuzuki to finish basketball practice, a classmate, Mizuna, approaches him. She asks if the dating rumor is true, and when Chido says that it is, Mizuna says that they don't match at all. Chido scolds her for talking badly about her, but Mizuna says that it's better to speak in front than behind, and she would even say it to Yuzuki's face. She then asks Chidos to trade contacts, which Chidos accepts. But when Yuzuki finishes her practice, Mizuna quickly walks away. Yuzuki shows up with Haru, and Haru tells Chidos how Yuzuki lost her body wipes and needs to borrow hers so she can smell good for Chidos. Yuzuki gets flustered and quickly shuts her up. On the walk home, Yuzuki informs Chidos that she is sure that she packed her body wipes, and they both realize that some creep sneaked into their changing room and stole her body wipes, which they suspect is the stalker. To ease her tension, Chido says that it's weird that they took body wipes instead of her precious sweaty towels or even her peach covers, which flusters Yuzuki. Then, Yuzuki suggests that they should go on a date like what other couples do. But Chidos reminds her that she has a big game on the weekend, so he suggests that she focuses on that, while he cheers for her like a good boyfriend. He even adds that if she wins, he will take her on a date and even let her do anything she wants, which motivates her to do her best. She thanks him, and when he asks what for, she doesn't say a thing. The next day, at the library, Yua pops up wearing glasses, surprising Yuzuki. Chidos informs her that he suggested that Yua wear contact lenses, considering that she looks too hot wearing glasses, and Yuzuki takes notes when hearing that. Just then, Chidos notices some Yakin students outside and informs Yuzuki about it, which scares her. When she sees them looking at her, Yuzuki quickly moves beside Chidos and says that she doesn't recognize them. Chidos then leaves Yuzuki and decides to confront those goons by himself, all while Yuzuki and the other girls are watching. Just then, the goons approach Chidos, act friendly, and ask Chidos to introduce Yuzuki to them and their seniors. Chidos says that, as her boyfriend, he wants Yuzuki for himself, but the goons tell him that there are rumors of Yuzuki being a hoe, so they want to pass her around like a basketball and put it in her basket. Chidos bluntly asks if they were the ones who have been stalking Yuzuki, and that offends them, so they start getting aggressive. The goon tries to act civil by shaking hands while gripping it hard, but Chidos grips it harder, making him feel pain. The others then confront Chidos, saying that they're going to put him in a wheelchair, but Chidos' homies, Kazuki and Kaido, pull up to back him up. The goons get scared seeing them, and they walk away, while warning Chidos that their senior will find him. Afterward, Chidos and Yuzuki sit by the river, and she apologizes to him for making him confront her stalkers and almost getting beaten up. He covers her with his jacket while she cries, and says that he will wait until the Yuzuki he knows is back. After calming down, she says she wants to eat katsudon, and he sees that she is fully cheered up like usual. But as a precaution, he teaches her to always kick guys in their jewels, but quickly asks her not to test it on him. She then helps him wear his jacket, and puts her head on his broad back, whispering into him, saying that he was awesome, and thanks him for defending her. Thank you for watching today's recap video. If you enjoy this recap and want a part 6, comment down below stalkers and hit the like button.